When you have a culture that is working well together, communicating well together, we become more efficient.
Okay.
And when you become efficient, you become profitable.
Hello, and welcome to Small Business Pivots. I'm your host, Michael Morrison, a small business coach who helps small business owners build a business that can run without them. To learn more, go to michaeldmorrison.com. Today, we've revitalized another private podcast recording that was exclusively recorded for a small business owner's private networking group. This recording dives deep into a topic that can increase profits: effective communication through DISC. Make sure to listen to the end for my recap and Coach's Corner, where I share applicable action steps for small business owners to move the needle in their business. Today's episode is a game changer. We're diving deep into the world of DISC, uncovering the keys to understanding human behavior and harnessing the power of communication in business to skyrocket efficiency and profits. In the fast-paced world of business, communication is the glue that holds everything together. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur, a team leader, or someone looking to supercharge your career, mastering the art of communication can be the difference between stagnation and extraordinary success. Today, we're shining a spotlight on DISC, a powerful framework that decodes the intricacies of human behavior. What is DISC, you ask? Well, it's not just another acronym. It's a tool that unveils the mysteries of how we think, act, and communicate. Imagine a workplace where every team member is not just heard, but truly understood. Picture a scenario where conflicts are resolved swiftly, collaboration flows seamlessly, and innovation becomes second nature. That's the promise of leveraging DISC to its fullest potential. And here's the kicker. When communication is optimized, efficiency follows suit. Productivity soars. And guess what else? Profits skyrocket. Today, we'll unpack real-world examples, share success stories, and provide practical tips to integrate DISC principles into your professional career. Our guest today is Ashley Mann, a DISC consultant, specialist, and team partner of our company, Boss, helping make business ownership simplified for success. Let's listen now. All right, so welcome to another Boss Networking event, an event for business owners only. We are here to help make business ownership simplified and profitable for you. So today, before we introduce our guest, I want to say a sincere thank you. We could not do this without our studio partners, Design Tunnel, Jimmy Owens, and Ryan. The team here is just, they do an amazing job. In fact, we use them exclusively for all of our videos. So if you have any video needs, podcasting, table setups like this, be sure and give them a call. So today we are going to talk about an interesting topic. In fact, every month we always try to keep topics that are business owner related, something that you can take back with you to the office and implement them to help your business grow and succeed. So today it's based on the topic of communication, conversation. And we have our guest, Ashley Hart. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you for coming. This is a true pleasure because she is very busy. So to get her in here is a miracle in itself. But today we're going to talk about DISC. And I want you to, first of all, tell us just a smidgen of yourself, your history, how you got into DISC, what you know about it, and things like that. So people might have a better understanding of what your professional expertise is in the subject.
Absolutely. So I have a master's in counseling and human development. And so when it comes to DISC, it is about behavior, and I have made behavior my life. So I started out at 23 as a director of a nonprofit. Okay. And so through that, working with a small budget, working with employees, hiring and firing, and being very young, doing all of that in Texas, actually, is where I became really passionate about human behavior, but DISC and working it all together. And so I was certified 3 years ago in DISC and have used it with 16 small businesses around Oklahoma City, and not only have helped them with their culture, but also their profit through utilizing DISC.
How on the profit side do you think it's benefited them?
Really, when you have a culture that is working well together, communicating well together, we become more efficient.
Okay.
And when you become efficient, you become profitable.
Okay.
You're not in the nitty gritty of little dramas or disengagement or, oh, I thought we were doing this. No, I thought we were doing that.
Right.
And you can really hone into what your product is and how to get it out there. And so it's just becoming a better, well-oiled machine.
Excellent. So as a disclaimer, I just want everybody to know that Boss does offer DISC assessments and things like that with our partner, Ashley, as well through her guidance. So we offer that. So we're kind of a team package, if you will, when it comes to that. So, but I thought you would rather hear it from an expert versus me. So DISC means something. What does it mean?
Right. So it's another profile for personalities, just like your Myers-Briggs. There's so many out there. You can go on Facebook and decide what kind of princess you are based on the personality questions that you answer. But DISC, I love DISC because it's so simple to remember. And so your D is your dominant personalities. Your I is your influencers. Your S are your social, which is made up of 64% of the population.
That's interesting.
So most people reside mostly in that S category. And then your C category, I love them because I'm kind of a C. I'm an SC. And those are your people who love, right?
SCs.
SCs. They love your spreadsheets and they are your mathematicians and they get into the details. And so you can have more than one letter. Like I'm an SC, but I'm dominantly S. Whenever I run into somebody who says, oh, I'm all of them, I'm like, no. You are confused.
Yes.
So, and depending on what kind of interactions we're having, like right now talking to you, I'm pulling from my I. You know, I'm being like, I'm an introvert, I'm quiet, but when I'm having to do something like this, I've got to, oh man, I got to find that I personality in me and I have to bring it up so that I can do this.
So what's probably the top thing that either business owners ask, or you think that if they don't know anything about DISC or how it could benefit their business, how do you think it could benefit their business?
Sure. So in the companies that I've worked with DISC, there's one of the main is hiring. Okay. Hiring is so important. You spend so much money in hiring and the training. And so I've actually gone into companies and used DISC to not only evaluate the candidate, but evaluate the team and to see if they are the right piece. So one time I was working with an engineering group. Ooh. So they are mostly C's, right? And there was some issues in that because we couldn't get past certain things because we needed a spreadsheet and we needed this. And I was like, okay, we need a D personality here, right? We need, or an I personality here because we need somebody who moves things along. And so able to find those missing pieces through DISC is really, really helpful. A lot of times I see organizations use different personality assessments like DISC, and they'll do a huge rah-rah kind of like everybody in the conference room and everybody loves it because we all like learning about ourselves. Right? But then the conference is over, the notebooks go away, and nobody talks about it again. And then they can't figure out, well, we paid all this money for this.
Right.
So that's another, to me, a mistake is not really understanding how to utilize DISC every single day. And that is something that I come in and I work with companies like every single day. We're not just saying, hey, yay, you're an SC. We're saying, okay, so if we know Michael's an SC, how do we get him to function at the highest level? Do we have him in the right spot? Do we have him on the right team? And if we have everybody in the right team, then how do we go to the next level and say, okay, this is not about what you learn about yourself, but now I'm going to teach you the next level, how to become highly efficient communicators.
Interesting.
And that gets missed.
Yeah.
That's the next step. And I think that's the thing in business. Like we get so far, we get so excited, but it's the next step that gets missed a lot of times because it's the next step is where the work happens.
Do you see a lot of businesses doing the assessments and then that's it? I mean, like you said, do you see a lot of them doing that, or is that just kind of a...
I think it's a check the box, because we know we have some cliche words in business today, like culture, right? We need a good culture. How do we make a good culture? So we do these things and we check the box and say, okay, we did the thing to make the good culture, check the box, let's get back to our meetings and our work. And it's just checking the box. Okay. And if we don't make changes, guess what you're doing? The same mistakes, the same struggles, the same frustrations. Right. And so it's getting to that next part of going, no, we're investing in this. We believe in this, we're investing in this, and we're going to utilize it. And the companies that did that became very successful. I had one company that became so successful, they sold and they were thrilled.
Wow.
And I did disc with them every week.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's ongoing. It's not
ongoing.
Just a start and a finish.
Yes, because we go in and I say, okay, what was the issues this week? Like, how did we not get along?
Yeah.
Or how do we need to communicate better? And then we use that week's issues and then we infiltrate it and we come up with solutions.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing is our businesses get better and become profitable when we find solutions.
Yeah.
Not when we sit at the table and circle around the same issue 18 times.
Right. Yeah. You're listening to Small Business Pivots, a podcast created for small business owners who are ready to build a business that can work without them, with more freedom and more profit. To learn more, go to michaeldmorrison.com. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast to help more small business owners succeed. Let's get back to our guest. I know when I was first introduced to DISC, probably 10, 15 years ago, if I found or discovered the breakdown in between myself and another key employee, and that was they were a D. And as you know, Ds, they're like one of those that we're just going to plow through and we'll worry about the consequences later.
Right.
Whereas an SC, it's like we like details because we like to base things on facts, so we don't have to go back and fix things. But what we found out was I was giving him too much detail. Right. So when I was asking for something or sending an email, nothing would get done. I was like, this person is ignoring me or something's happening. But what it was when they opened that email and saw a paragraph, they're like, this is overwhelming. Next.
Yes.
And so they would just ignore it.
Right.
And their intention was to come back to it when they had time.
Right.
But they never have time because they're always just plowing through everything.
Yeah.
Just to check the boxes, if you
will. And you need those people because they move projects along, right? So there's strengths and weaknesses in every single personality, and matching them up is crucial. And a lot of people would say, well, a D and an S, you cannot put them together. But if they understand how to communicate, they will be your strongest team.
Yeah. What else would you say that business owners need to know about DISC and how important it is for businesses?
I would have to say that to really hit your marks and your goals, there has to be an understanding in yourself. And DISC gives that nice packaging around being able to say, hey, you're a little critical.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't speak my language. Or when you do this, I turn off. And so when you have that really deep self-awareness as a boss, and you can see how to speak to your employees and your customers and your clients, I mean, your business is going to profit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those cause and effects. It just is. So
knowing DISC, that could also be truly beneficial for your sales team. Is that right?
I've done a lot of sales training with different teams, a lot of insurance people actually on DISC, because you have your, this is what I have to say, and this is my goal, and this is how much I have to sell, and you forget to listen. And you forget why you're there. In fact, I had a client who was doing a sales pitch and getting frustrated, and she then stopped herself and was like, okay, what did Ashley teach me about DISC? And she was like, oh, this person is a C. Yeah. So she stopped all the chit chat and she was like, here's the folder, here's all the data. You let me know when you're ready to talk, and ended the meeting. and she got the business.
Wow.
Because it's just the small things, right? It's being so in tune to behavior. And even though we're all a little different, behavior is, you can see in every single person, right? Like you can know somebody's going to say something or do something, just like with your spouses and loved ones. At some point you're like, oh, if I come home, she's going to say this to me about this, right?
Yeah.
And so behavior can be predictable. And if you really know those cues and you really learn to listen and communicate, behavior is predictable.
So to enhance what you just said or improve on or whatever, something I think I just heard you say, this could even be beneficial for your personal relationships, your marriage relationship, dating, whatever it is. Is that what your social?
Oh, absolutely. I can't tell you how many clients went home and they're like, they talked to their spouses and they were like, this is amazing. We need to do this because it's just a communication, right?
So social relationships, marriages, tell us about how it works outside of the work, how it can benefit you there as well.
Absolutely. I mean, any relationship, whether it's with a parent, a child, a spouse, you go home and you're like, gosh, why haven't they done this for me yet? Right? But then you recognize, okay, my spouse is an I. So,
bless that person.
Right? Because, I was helping Susie all day long. Okay, but you didn't have. So when you become understanding of the wiring of the people that you love, you learn to speak their language. And when you speak their language, not only do they feel loved and respected, but they all feel heard. And when you feel heard, you'll do anything for that person, right? Yeah.
Unless you both know DISC.
Right. And then you use it against each other all the time.
In sales, is it true that you could pick up on little personality things? So can you expand on that a little bit about how that might work, how you can pick up on some clues as to if your prospect is a DIS or C?
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing is always research who you're going to be seeing. Find out a little bit about them so that when you walk into their office, you're already kind of ahead. But you can also tell by when you walk into their office, the way people are like, oh, you're here to see Michael, right? And so usually if somebody's that like loud, I know Michael's around the office a lot, right? He's social. Okay. And so I'm going to keep that in mind. When I walk into your office, I'm going to look for things that show me your hobbies and your loved ones. So D personalities, they'll have like family members, but it will be more like my certificates. And I'm going to show you I'm professional. I'm going to show you that I know my stuff. Accolades. And I'm going to show you why. Yes, here's my trophies. Like, I'm going to show you why I'm important here and why I'm in charge. Now, your I personalities will have their vacation photos. They'll be like, oh, this is when I went to Cabo, and then this is when I went to Canada. And they're
probably with a bunch of friends in the pictures.
Bunch of friends. They're going to want to talk about it. And you talk about it. High personalities, if you're going in to sell, you are going to talk 10% about your actual product. Talk about the best restaurants around town, like what's going on in Oklahoma City, what have they been doing, and find those things in their office. They'll be there. C personalities, you will find spreadsheets and maps and highlighters and Post-it notes and computer, and it'll be very professional. But your S personalities will have more of your, almost like they went to Hobby Lobby and then they brought those things in. There's going to be things about their hobbies and their family. And you're going to walk in and be like, oh, this is cozy, right? Because they want you to feel cozy when you come into their office, right? Because it's very important for S's that you feel comfortable with me, And so those little things you can pick up and just how you talk to them and how their first response to you is. If their first response is, hey, Michael, I'm glad you're here today. I got like 10 minutes. Guess what? You're in the office of a D and you have 10 minutes. Actually, 5. Right. And so if they start off like, how's your son? You're in an S office. Like those little things you pick up on real quickly and you make those notes and you go right into how do I communicate with this person? How do I get them to hear me? It's not about how important or my sales pitch says this, and this, and this. They won't hear you if you're not speaking their language.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you prepared for them.
And you've lost them within 15 seconds probably, because they can pick up on if they like you right away.
They're not interested in me. They're disengaged. I don't have time for this.
Right.
And that's how we all are, right? Like we all want to be heard. Mm-hmm. So if you can make your interactions, whether you're an owner or a salesperson or a manager, if you can make your interactions about how you listen and that people feel like they're heard, your success rate is going to be there.
Yeah. No,
I mean, it's just that cause and effect.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff. So we are almost out of time. So is there any last words of wisdom that you'd like to share about DISC, or have you shared the bulk of it and the rest would be a novel?
Yes, I think my one last thing is whenever anybody talks to me about DISC, I want to scream from the rooftops, it is not about you.
Right.
It is absolutely not about you. Yeah. If you go into any DISC training or assessment and you're like, this is great, this is who I am, and that's all you got out of it, you wasted your time and your money, because nothing about you or your business will change.
Right. No, that is great advice. And so since we kind of work as a team, just to kind of explain the process, a simple process, there's lots of processes to DISC. But a simple one is if you are interested in learning more about your team and your sales and all that stuff, we come in and we do kind of a introductory session, kind of explaining DISC, how it works, why it could benefit you, what the follow-up is, and then we do assessments. Those could take anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 weeks. Really depends on how long it takes their people to do them. Mm-hmm. And then we get those back, and then we kind of have a follow-up session, and then we talk about next steps after that. That's kind of the basic. And like you said, keep working on it week after week, but that's kind of how to get started. That will at least get the foundation started so that you do have better communication and you do crush it more in sales. Right. So we will have that. Any last words of wisdom? I asked you that about DISC, but any last words of wisdom to our business owners coming from Ashley Hart?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm just super excited to be here today. So thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely.
And I love behavior and studying behavior and helping people thrive, because habits change, behavior change, communication change, and then your business change.
Yes, and you have a master's in that.
I do.
So we have a very professional in the house. So again, thank you, Design Tunnel. Welcome to the Recap and Coach's Corner, where we break down the key insights and give you actionable coaching tips to help you grow your business. In this episode, we unveiled the magic of DISC, a tool that decodes human behavior, paving the way for effective communication in the business world. Remember, communication is essential for the success of any business in a fast-paced business environment. When communication is better, efficiency follows suit, and profits skyrocket. Now let's dive deep into the Coach's Corner, where I share one actionable item for business owners to build their brand using DISC before our next episode. Your actionable item today is to visit our company's website, Boss, to learn more about DISC and the process of how you can implement this tool into your business for greater success. Go to businessownershipsimplified.com/courses and click Team Building with DISC in the drop-down menu. If you prefer to speak with me personally in more depth, email me at michael@michaeldmorrison.com or click the Let's Chat button in the upper right-hand corner of the website. You can also email me to talk about anything small business related, even if it has nothing to do with today's topic. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Lastly, please don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast so together we can help more small business owners succeed. Stay tuned for more coaching insights in our next episode of Small Business Pivots.